be in orbit.
Roger, 0G, and I feel fine. Lift off and the clock has started.
Nice to be in orbit.
Hey everybody, it's Nathan here with the Geekosphere, and I am joined today with my good friends PJ and Luke. PJ, how are you doing today?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm awesome. Luke, how are you doing?
I'm doing awesome, dude.
Yeah, okay.
Nice.
You can't-
Totally on brand.
Yes,
Totally
totally
on
on brand.
brand.
If you can't see us, we're actually trying to film this tonight, so we actually have a GoPro going, maybe so you can kind of see what we're doing. Luke has on his Ponce shades.
That's right. I'm wearing my
So,
chip shades.
Yeah. Here's the thing: is we said we were going to be covering a broad spectrum of pop culture things, and Luke is our '80s man.
Dun, 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 dun,
So
dun,
we're
dun.
set to go. And Luke, you just actually got back. We'll talk about this maybe on another episode. You just got done with Fan Days.
Fan Days.
So you had some good con kind of experience.
I had a
going.
lot. I had a great weekend. It was fun. It was a small show, but it was fun.
It was fun.
Intimate.
Intimate is a
Intimate.
good word for it. That's
Yes.
what everybody was saying online.
Intimate.
But actually, Luke brought me a gift from.
I did.
He did. He brought me a signed. The placards they have above. He brought me Adam Baldwin's with a signature.
Nice.
So I have Jane Cobb, who's going to go above my office cube. So I'm super happy about
But I
that.
didn't bring anything for PJ.
You didn't
so
bring
I
anything
felt
for
bad.
PJ. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm
There's
sorry.
a Milky Way in that bag. over
Yeah, there is a bag of candy.
That's really all
What
I
you
need.
also cannot
I'm
see
gonna be
is
fair.
my wife has like 3 or 4 gallon bags of candy behind us. So we're try not to eat that while we're in this. So
If I disappear, you'll know where I went.
yes, if you
Yes.
hear rustling, you know what PJ has done. So anyway, hey, this is our 4th episode. Sorta. It's really technically our 2nd episode with 2 offshoots, kind of like explaining.
I was like fourth?
Well, okay. In the numerical order, it's 4th. The 3rd episode was me apologizing for messing up the 2nd episode, which hopefully we will not have those issues tonight. So
Is this like when they renumbered Star Wars
Well,
and made
that's
it
just-
4 later on?
possibly
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
depending
okay.
on how this
4
goes,
came first, and then
depending on how this goes, this might actually end up being 9. Who knows? I don't know. Hopefully we've got our recording levels dialed in. So I'm actually trying to keep my voice down as much as I can because I'm technically the loudest person in the room.
you're
So
doing an excellent job.
I'm doing an excellent
And
job.
technically,
You are.
you're right.
Technically, I am the loudest person in the room. But, a lot has been going on, and one of the things we wanted to do was each episode just kind of catch everybody up on what we've been doing, watching, seeing, playing, what has been in your wheelhouse as of late. And so I'm actually going to start with PJ because he was the one that threw that out to me and said, hey, we need to talk about this. So, PJ, in your realm of the Geekosphere, what's been going on with you lately?
So I've been playing Gears 5 quite a bit.
Oh, really?
And if have you guys either
I
of you ever
played some
played
of.
any of the
I
Gears
mean, I
of War
played
games?
like the first 3.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so Gears 5 is a pretty significant shift.
Uh-huh.
You are so 1, 2, and 3. Your main character is Marcus Phoenix.
Yes.
You're fighting the Swarm, the Locust, whatever you want to call them. I enjoyed those games.
Yeah.
They were ones I got into later in life. Like I mentioned last episode, I was kind of late to the Xbox scene, so started on those. Gears 5 is a pretty significant shift. You actually play as Kate,
Okay.
who is I think it's the first time you've had a female lead character in the Gears series. And she plays pretty similar. It's still the same kind of cover
Still
shooter,
over the shoulder, third
third
person.
person.
Gotcha.
Never-ending enemies at times. But you're on a significant portion of what I've played so far. You're actually on this place. Reminds me a lot of Hoth. It's all ice.
Oh, okay, so you got a snow planet.
Yeah, it's actually just this area is just frozen. But one of the cool mechanics is you can actually shoot the ice under the locust instead of shooting the locust so that they drown. And
Oh,
then
that's nice.
it's
That's
so-
a neat idea.
It's so cold that the ice freezes over them and they can't get out.
That's a great idea,
It's
actually.
pretty cool.
That's
except
cool.
when it happens
Pretty
to you.
expensive. That's what I find fascinating. Well, I think it's fascinating about video games these days is they come up with, I won't say creative ways to kill people. They come up with logical ways to kill
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Everything's becoming more
Well, it's real.
logical. It's like,
and also the worlds are expansive. I mean,
yes.
you could
Oh,
go-
yeah.
Well, you can do so much more
Do
and
so
see
much
so much
more.
more.
This is also the first Gears that is a little bit more open. It's not quite.
Yeah, because the
open
first 3 were
world.
pretty linear.
Oh, very linear.
Very
And this-
linear in what you did.
This one has open areas. Open-ish is how I've heard it kind of described lately. But It's really interesting. I'm only in the second act.
Oh wow!
There's
okay.
usually 5 acts in each game, so I'm just kind of just still starting out, really. But
doing your thing.
But it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. I actually, did you guys see that Death Stranding, which everybody's waiting for? Did you see the thing with Conan O'Brien
Yes.
in the game? I
Saw
can't
that
tell
today.
if that's a joke or not.
Knowing Kojima, it really could be.
It really could be a real thing in there. So
Totally.
anyway, in the Death Stranding, which is Norman Reedus is the main character in that, and it's an open world exploration. It's a lot like Metal Gear Solid kind of thing. Same creator, and at one point you meet Conan O'Brien, who gives you an otter hat,
Nice.
according to the video, and you can float down the river like an otter. Once you've gotten this hat,
As you do.
as you meet a hologram of Conan O'Brien.
Okay. It's not the real Conan O'Brien.
I don't know. It's if it isn't. That's the thing I can't tell. I can't tell if it's a a spoof thing where Conan shows up, because Conan does a thing now where he reviews video games with people knowing nothing about video games. Clueless gamer, which is hilarious. But he's actually, it looks like it possibly could be him, or it's a really neat piece of camera.
So I
work.
would do well on that
'Cause-
show.
Yes, you would.
He definitely went
Clueless
in.
gamer.
Yeah, he definitely went to the studio.
Oh, did he?
As
Okay.
part of it.
So they did the mocap and all that
Yeah,
with
yeah,
him.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if he'll be in the final game.
I
but
know, that's what's so funny.
No, again, knowing Kojima,
He possibly
He-
could be. Who knows?
there's a
It's-
greater than 50-50 chance he is.
So anyway, we have that. We have Conan O'Brien doing that. Honestly, I haven't. Okay, it's video games. I'm going to come back to you in a second.
Sure.
I am addicted to Rust right now.
Okay.
And playing modded servers of it.
Nice.
And so, I like the ones where they allow us to build. Basically, it's like build your most creative base,
Okay.
and then go out and and do
I'm just going to put my sunglasses back on and let Nathan and PJ talk about
talk
it.
video games. Well, we're going to get out of that in a second. So anyway, that's my video game stuff. What else you got?
That's been it, really.
Really?
Other than watching the Star Wars 9 trailer over and over again.
Which we're
But
gonna talk
that
about.
here
We're
in a
talk
little bit.
about. We're getting there.
We're getting there. We're going to have to find out how many times everybody's watched it. So I don't know. I try to squeeze it in at least 2-3 times a day since it's come out, which it came out, Monday? So
Yeah, Monday night.
Monday Night Football.
Yep.
Keep my nerd world out of my
Great
sports
game.
world.
Patriots and the Jets.
Oh my gosh.
One team showed.
Yes.
Exactly.
I was writing a blog, which we do have a website. We'll talk about it later. I was writing a blog for it today, and
Okay.
I said that this is Monday Night Football and Star Wars is kind of like the Reese's of pop culture.
What I wanted to know is what ESPN numbers were before halftime and what,
What
they
were
were
after halftime. It's kind of like
viewing.
keep your geek out of my sports, keep your sports out of keep
Yeah,
your peanut butter out of my
exactly.
I
chocolate.
bet there was
yeah.
a pretty
Yeah,
significant drop off.
exactly.
I'm sure there was.
sure.
So okay. Well, we'll get to number 9 in a minute and talk about that a little bit. Luke, how about you? Other fan days. That was a
Fan
big
Days
deal.
was this past weekend. Again, it is one of 2 shows that we have here in Dallas. We have the big Dallas Fan Expo, which is at the K. Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center in March next year. But we have a smaller show, very intimate show that we do at the Irving Convention Center, 3 days. And it started off a little rough. Christopher Eccleston did not
Not
was
make
not
it,
able
though
to
he
make
sent
it.
a nice
He sent a
apology.
nice
I saw
apology.
that.
It was very nice. Theo Rossi also had to drop out at the last minute. And then mid-show, Tommy Flanagan had to depart. But those things happen. Personal issues come up, and not much you can do about it.
There's agents and things like that, and
Exactly.
things they have to get to. So they
But
get there.
Mr. Anthony Daniels was there. C-3PO
Nice.
did a
Sir
great job.
Anthony Daniels.
Sir Anthony Daniels, and he did a thank you for the correction.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just want to make sure
Queen's England.
Sir Anthony Daniels
Sir
has the
Anthony.
proper respect that we're giving him.
And by the way, he's written a book.
He has written a
He
book
talked about it many times.
many times.
Yeah,
When
I
they
am-
have a book, you do
I am
talk.
C-3PO.
Nice.
Okay, good
The
title.
inside story. That's
The
right.
inside story.
The inside story.
All right.
Talked about it a lot.
I saw a lot of positive things on the Facebook page for Fan Expo. A lot of people talking about how nice he is and how great he was with their kids and whatnot. So
Yeah, he's very cool, but he's also got that whole British humor thing. Really
Does he?
going.
Okay,
yeah,
very
where
dry.
you think you're not really sure you've just made him mad, but maybe you did or you didn't.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
not sure.
just kind of keeping you on edge. A
My
little
other
bit.
favorite, though, Matt Modine. Big
Oh,
fan
did
of
you get to
Matt.
meet him?
I got to meet him. Got to say hi just briefly.
Private Joker.
But yeah, Private Joker. I was Gross Anatomy. Loved him
Yeah.
in Gross Anatomy. Had a lot of other great films, obviously. A big
I saw
Stranger
somebody
Things
got
fan.
their Vision Quest record signed by
Oh,
him.
that's amazing.
That was
that'd
one of
be
the
cool.
pictures. Yeah,
I
they had
didn't see that.
They had a Vision Quest LP, and they got it signed by him. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Another favorite there, Patrick Warburton.
Oh, I heard he was great.
Not only great, but when I first saw him, I was like really intimidated because that dude is racked.
I heard he's gigantic.
Gigantic. He's buff.
He looks like Kronk.
He does. He totally does. Squirrel. Oh, different movie.
Yeah, that's a
different
different
Pixar movie.
No, but he speaks chipmunk.
Yeah, he's
Junior Chipmunks.
squeaking. Actually, what I wanted to do, and not a lot of people remember that he was the boyfriend in the B movie. And so,
oh yes, that's right.
Yeah,
he was.
so I wanted to get a box of artificial sweetener and have him sign that because he likes it. It's artificial sweetener made by man. But anyway,
boy, and he's in everything, man.
He's in his national car rental commercials are hilarious.
Yes, and he was the original Tick.
That's right. He was
on the live action one.
That's
so
correct.
and interestingly enough, that Peter Serafinowicz.
It's a great name.
Yeah, the voice of Darth Maul.
No, Darth Maul. That's
Yes.
right. Okay. So anyway,
so.
Fan Expo, Fan Days was great. Also just got back from Galaxy's Edge.
Oh.
Went to visit Batuu. Very nice.
So
got to ride the Millennium Falcon ride.
He's already rubbed his videos in our faces.
That is correct.
Of what he's seen there at Galaxy's
correct.
Edge. I'm going in 2021, so
well, I'm actually a little. If I don't make it before you get there, I'm going to be jealous because that's when the Rise of the Resistance.
I know, and that's what I'm banking on is I will be able to see Rise of the Resistance before you. I think that's important
awesome
for
ride.
me.
That is an awesome ride from what I've heard. So
that's what I've heard.
Millennium
too.
Falcon ride was fun. Had a good time. Met Hondo. And, got to, I was right side pilot. By the way, if you're listening, if you ride the Falcon for the first time, you want to be the right side pilot because there's one reason for that. You get to do the hyperspace jump.
Nice.
See, and that's what I want to do.
That's important.
Yeah. And my son doesn't want to
That's a
fly.
big
He
deal.
wants to be the gunner. That's like he said, I want to be the gunner. I'm like, you don't want to fly it?
But
I want to fly.
But the thing about being the gunner, you basically push a button
Yeah,
the
I know.
whole time. You don't actually
steer or
aim a
anything.
gun or anything like
Oh,
that.
so you don't. It's not.
You're just pushing a button when you
the-
have
pushing
to.
a button. No,
it's
just
not
pushing
the
a button.
underneath.
No.
Pushing a button, dude.
Yeah,
That's
you're just pushing a button. Who wants to just push a button? So.
And,
See,
the way they
they
described
need
it
to
is-
make a new ride where you're the
I
Han and
agree.
Luke.
Ooh.
I agree.
Gunner
That
Like
would
a
be awesome.
gyrosphere or
Full
something, like one of those
360,
gyro
yeah,
things, and you're in there.
yeah.
That'd be awesome.
So essentially, they just describe it. The pilots, you guys do the piloting. You're up and down. You're right and left. The gunners, you push the buttons, and the engineers in the third row seat, they just do it in case somebody else doesn't do anything. So they push their buttons if I forget to do something.
Weird. Well, we'll have to get that. What we'll do is we'll do a whole Galaxy's Edge kind of Luke's trip to Galaxy's Edge, and then we'll get your videos and put them on the website.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
That'd be good, so you can see, because there's a lot out there, but we can see your personal experience from it.
As usual, Disney did an amazing job.
Well, of course,
It's
of
beautiful.
course.
It's beautiful.
The mouse is going to
right.
do the very best that they
That's
can.
right.
So.
So Nathan, what about you? What have you been doing?
What about me? I have. My mind is like in a million different places when it comes to this kind of stuff. I'm reading like 5 or 6 books. Actually, if you don't know him, Rob Cruzy is an Amazon author and really good, and he's got a new series called The Counterfeit Sorcerer. But the first book is The Brand of the Warlock, and it's really good. It's kind of like old school fantasy, from the 80s. A lot, and it is small. Like the book is only a couple hundred pages. The first one, and he's got a whole series come out. And Rob is he's a self-published author, but he's got tons of material out there. Really good stuff. And if you've not read like his Starship Grifters and all that, really funny. And he's got a Iron Dragon Saga, which is about space Vikings, and that one's awesome. Vikings trying to help men from the future build their spaceship. It's just all good stuff. So definitely check out Rob. He's a really good author. But I've been reading that and a couple other different fantasy. There's The Chronicle of the Unhewn Throne, which is a very lofty title for a book called the first book's The Emperor's Blades. Reading that. I'm also trying to catch up on The Expanse. Season 4 is getting ready to come out. I'm finally on season 3. And I got to tell you, I tell people this, I'm kind of like, I feel like around here, I'm the one voice for The Expanse because nobody's watching it that I know. And I'm like, if they watch,
you've told me
Walking Dead,
times.
Game of Thrones, whatever. I'm like, you got to watch The Expanse, man. It's on Amazon. Get it. It's the best. But I watched the first episode of Watchmen last weekend, the new HBO series, which I am incredibly fascinated by, having read Watchmen, when it came out and everything. Seen the Zack Snyder movie. The nice thing is this particular extension of the story does not follow Snyder's movie. It actually follows the comic, so you get the squids in this one. If you've never read Watchmen, that'll make sense if you have. If you haven't, it doesn't make sense. But
You got
Yeah,
that
'cause
from
I'm
the
just
blank, the
thinking-
blank look on my face.
Blank look on your face.
And
The
I'm
guys have a
thinking fish,
the guys have a blank look. Okay, so
squids.
just real quick spoiler for Watchmen. In the Snyder version of the movie, in order to the master plot to bring the world together was Dr. Manhattan, who is he's the enemy. He creates this vision. Well, in the original comic, it was a genetically engineered space squid that Adrian Veidt dropped on New York City and killed millions of people to create an interdimensional enemy that didn't really exist. And so in the new version of the Watchmen, or it's not really even a new version. It's not a remake. It's an extension of the story 30 years after it all happened.
Okay.
And it takes place. It goes from New York City to Oklahoma, which is really interesting setting for it. But it's the fallout of superheroes being made illegal, but yet the police in law enforcement, they operate with vigilante superheroes within the force and are allowed to wear masks. The police wear masks in this version because they don't want to be identified by the public, because being a police officer has gotten to be so dangerous.
Okay.
And so there's this, in the light of everything that's been going on with Black Lives Matter and all that, there's a role reversal here where the police are essentially, it's this weird, uncomfortable thing where there's kind of some harassment of the white supremacists. It's just this very interesting interplay between what's going on right now and then what's going on in this world. So I'm interested to see where it goes. In terms of other HBO shows, it's relatively tame so far. There's definitely some violence and things like that, but in terms, it's not Game of Thrones in that sense. But I'm curious. It's another Damon Lindelof, our man, the man who helped create Lost and produce it, and so it's good. I say it's definitely worth it. And then, like I said, I play Rust a lot. It's just been played a couple of new games that I learned. The biggest one right now, board game wise, is if you haven't played Horrified, go get Horrified. It's a great family game, especially at Halloween. But it is one of the few monster horror themed board games out there that actually uses the original Universal monsters,
Okay.
Nice.
which nobody does that. And so they've actually gone back and dipped into the original Dracula, Creature from the Black Lagoon, and it's a fun game. That's kind of where we are. I'm trying to keep my hands in all the geek pots
It
that I
sounds
have.
like it.
I'm
It
trying
sounds
to
like-
do as much as I can.
Well, and speaking
but-
of games, I told you about what I saw at Fan Days, which is the Alien RPG.
yes,
game,
and I
which
am
looked
I saw pictures
desperately
of that.
waiting
That
for that
looks
to come out.
That
Phenomenal.
what was cool is they were playing it. Did I send you the video? The video.
You sent me a picture of it in a video.
Well, the
I believe.
video was cool because he was playing ominous music.
Oh,
so
was
it's
he?
like they were
Okay.
playing it, but they were also like really enveloped
Well, it
in
looked
this
like-
music. And
It looked like he had maps and things
Yeah.
laid out, and it's
Yeah.
from what I understand, it's a real easy to grasp RPG.
Seems like
so
it.
Dungeons and Dragons style, but all totally set in the Alien universe, which I'm 100% about because I am the resident Alien freak.
you
Absolutely.
Right now, and at this table, I'm really pumped about it. I saw when the Kickstarter came out, or at least the crowdfunding for it. I did not order it at the time, and I know it's going to be more expensive when it comes out.
Probably.
So I'm glad you got to see it because I'm really curious how it play tested and hear reviews of it.
Maybe I can get you a hookup.
Yeah,
We'll see.
get me a hookup if you can. That'd be really great. I'd love that. So, well, that's what we're doing. But you know what? There's much larger things in the world going on right now.
There are.
Like episode 9.
Oh man.
Like episode 9 trailer dropped on Monday, as we've already mentioned. And it was a big ripple. They started doing these Monday Night Football trailer releases with Force Awakens. They went back and did that. And I remember watching the first full trailer for Force Awakens when it hit Monday Night Football. And
I was sitting right there, the same place I was on Monday night.
yeah, and I think we were on the phone with each other when that happened, or at least we were right after. And then it's you go see Force Awakens, and it was really good. It was a nostalgia factory. It was a lot of fan service. And then the Last Jedi Monday Night Football trailer comes out, and we're even more. Our minds are like, this is crazy.
No, I'm out at that point because I went trailerless.
You did go trailerless.
For
That's
Jedi.
right. He did go for Last Jedi. He went
Wow,
trailerless.
okay.
Trailerless, and
Nice.
the movie
He did.
ended up not being so great. So
That's the thing.
So
And
now
then-
you're, so
So
now
I'm
you're
like,
invested again.
I'm
Is that-
back invested.
as much as I do like Last Jedi, I do admit that it is a perfect example of a trailer being manipulated to
Oh,
not
sure.
show you what it is.
Sure.
So we get to Rise of Skywalker final trailer. Now we've seen the other two, and there's not really only one trailer.
Right.
There's the trailer, and then there's the D23 Expo shot,
shot,
which is
yeah.
it's okay. But then this trailer hits,
Yeah.
And I went in thinking, okay, I've got to be level-headed.
How long did that last?
About 6 seconds into it. Probably after it was as soon as Rey jumped across the canyon and you see her land on the interior, which is, I'm assuming, is the Death Star.
Yeah.
Death Star 2.
Death Star 2. And then I went, okay, I'm starting to feel myself. How did you guys feel when you saw it? I mean, when you get to that initial, because there's a lot in this trailer. It's one of the busiest trailers I've ever seen.
It was very
Yeah.
thick.
Yeah, very. I mean, well, when it first started out, it felt very reminiscent of Force Awakens because it kind of started the same way with Rey, and she's. Remember, if you remember the very first trailer for TFA, it was her rummaging through. One of
the
Star
panel
Destroyers.
opens up. Yeah,
yeah, the panel opens up, and she's kind of jumping around, and so I kind of made me feel reminiscent of that, but it didn't last long after that. It was like it was really started pumping.
yeah.
You know? And the voiceovers I thought were really good, and then mixing the voiceovers from one person to the next.
Did you notice you had a hard time telling who was who?
A little bit. Yeah.
I really did. Between Poe and Finn, I had a hard time telling who was who.
Yeah.
Obviously, Adam Driver sounds like Adam Driver.
Sure.
And I do like that little addition at the end with switching out "The Force will be with you" and then dropping Carrie Fisher.
Carrie Fisher, yeah.
It took me a
Always.
few times. I texted
Yeah,
y'all. I was
you
like,
texted us.
"Is that who was that who I think it is?"
Yeah, exactly.
And what was
It's
great
like-
is if you watch the trailer with subtitles, it actually says Princess.
Oh,
It
does
does
it?
it? Okay, I didn't watch it with
I
subtitles.
should have done that.
Well, and of course they dropped it on Monday, which was Carrie's birthday.
birthday.
Yes.
So, which of course, did you notice that she's got top billing in the movie?
I did not know.
She does on the
You're
poster,
probably
yeah.
right. I didn't
On
even
the poster,
think about
she has
that.
top billing in the movie, which makes me curious because Abrams has said that they're filling her role with unused footage.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, what does that play out and how? I mean, I think that's one thing we're all kind of curious about because he said he wasn't going to do a Rogue One thing where they try to CGI her face on somebody's body. Good, because
Good.
that was
Exactly.
as cool as that scene was. It would have been better if they just shot her from the back and not shown her face. But
Yeah.
so general impressions, all the pieces seem to be there, right?
I was pretty blown away. I mean, to be honest with you, I love the cinematic of it, the building of the excitement.
Yeah, it really does.
It really does, in the way that they jump around. I mean, obviously we know that Palp is back.
Yeah.
And having his voice,
And he's brought with him some friends
and
because did y'all see all the old Empire Star Destroyers?
Well, that's okay. So
Yeah.
that is, as I understand, that is extended universe stuff. Because
well, they've been outfitted. Did you know that they've been outfitted?
What do you mean?
Did you guys know that there's a
I
gun?
did-
There's a gun on it.
I did see that. Yes,
So apparently, the rumor is that
they're all Death Star
that
guns,
there are Death Star guns.
Oh,
There
okay.
are kyber crystal
it's just- okay.
guns.
weapons. Now,
Weapons, yep.
if I am correct, because I wasn't a big EU guy, I didn't read all the books.
I got
and
into
stuff.
it quite a bit.
Did you? But
A little bit, yeah.
was there not a portion of the EU where Palpatine sent Star Destroyers, a fleet out to look for something?
Yeah,
That's correct.
Out to
Out
the
outer rim.
rim.
The Outer Rim.
I think Thrawn was the
That was
Yeah,
during the
was the
Thrawn
part of it.
trilogy.
During the Thrawn
Okay.
trilogy. Yep.
It was where he went when he
Okay.
was gone because he
Yeah.
wasn't in the big battle of Endor. They were out investigating something, and it wasn't really clear what it was.
Okay.
Um,
It wasn't the furry force ferrets. What was that?
I don't think so.
What were those things they carried out? Yeah, they had a weird name, but they were like
The
basically
Ysalamade or
whatever
something like
they
that.
were. Yeah, they made anti-force
yeah,
bubbles.
Yeah,
Did
Yeah.
they go squeaking, squeak, squeak?
Squeak, squeak.
I don't
and
think
squeak?
they did. I think they just made you go dark
But
if you were a Force user.
so that's the idea is that maybe those Star Destroyers. That's exactly what happened.
Okay.
Well, but then there's also something that what I've noticed is a lot of people. I don't know if this is a complaint or an observation, but they ditched the EU, right?
Yeah.
But it seems like they're still pulling so much from it, and so. There's one particular shot in the trailer where they're smashing the pedestal that has Darth Vader's helmet on it.
Right.
Yep.
Have you noticed what Rey's holding in her one
A
hand?
dagger.
There's a dagger.
Which is potentially the dagger of Mortis.
Right.
Which is designed to do what? It's to kill someone who's immortal. And so, there's all this that we're pulling. And that was in Clone Wars, wasn't it?
I think it was Clone
Dagger of
Wars,
Mortis
yeah.
was in Clone Wars.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing, and if in the EU,
Yeah.
Palpatine died on
Yes, he did.
on Star Wars or the Death Star 2. and then was reincarnated, or
In
not
Luke,
reincarnated,
wasn't he?
Sort of.
Like that was the Dark Force Rising or whatever.
And there was a clone, basically.
there was a clone.
That's right. It was a clone of Palpatine.
A clone of Palpatine.
I'm sorry. Let me just make a disclaimer right now. For all of you people who are Star Wars fans out there, okay, just because I didn't read the EU doesn't mean I'm a fan, okay? As far as I'm concerned, the EU doesn't exist anymore and didn't exist before. Okay, that's my 2 cents.
Are you done?
You've hurt me a lot.
I didn't mean to hurt you. No, I did like the Thrawn trilogy. I liked everything after that. I was kind of like,
I think one of my favorite series in the EU, just to go on a slight tangent, was the X-Wing.
Okay,
book
now
series.
those are good.
They were so good because they were not involved with Jedi very much.
Yeah.
It was just Wedge and his cast of
It's Rogue
amazing
Squadron.
pilots.
Yeah.
Of Rogue Squadron.
Which,
that
by
would
the
go
way,
on.
Wedge is back, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
Wedge
is
is
he?
back in 9.
Wedge
yes.
is back in
Oh,
9.
good.
They
We
got
just
Den-
made
Good.
PJ's day.
They
Y'all
got
really
Dennis,
have.
they got Dennis Lawson back.
Nice.
So.
So anyway, going on.
But X-Wing was a phenomenal series, and it had very little to do with Jedi. It was the Rogue Squadron carrying out missions for the. It was the new. Oh gosh, I'm gonna forget the name and be called out as not a real fan. But the new order, but not the new order because that's different.
Okay.
But
Or the First Order.
the first order.
The first
Second
order.
order.
Second Order,
It was
Third Order.
the New Republic.
The New Republic, yes.
Thank you. It just took me a minute, but and it was a very cool series. I actually think that would make an amazing Disney Plus series.
Well, I think that would be okay. So let me go back. Let me backtrack
go
a
back
little.
to
Backtrack.
Let me backtrack on my EU comments a little bit. I was just trying to be inflammatory for the sake of inflammatory. I get it. There was a lot of good stuff, and there were several stories.
There were some really bad stories.
There
I'm
were
not
some
gonna
really
lie to you.
anything Kevin J. Anderson I find is not good.
We just
at all.
lost half our listeners.
We
when
just
you
lost.
said that,
Hey,
but
come
that's
back
cool.
to us. Come back to us. So anyway, back to the trailer.
You might need to put a disclaimer.
I'll
at
put a
the beginning of-
disclaimer. I'll put a disclaimer. Hey, I may have said something about the EU, didn't mean it. If you don't even know what the EU is, no, it's not the European Union. So,
So I had one observation that I wanted to ask about.
bring it.
So
Getting back to where is Palpatine or is he a clone? That was the
well,
only thing
that's
that
the other thing. And the other thing I wanted to mention is
go ahead.
to branch a little bit more into your category of video games. Because I actually played this was the Battlefront 2 on Xbox with my son.
the new
And
Battlefront 2 or the old Battlefront 2?
The new one.
Okay.
Yeah, the new one that had so Palpatine in that he was the red guard with the face.
Oh, that's right. He did put his.
Oh.
He put his aura or whatever.
Yeah.
It was like it was a
I hadn't seen
sentient
that.
being that had the red armor.
That's right. And
And- but it
Palpatine
was-
could use him as a communication vessel.
Yeah, as a
Interesting.
communication vessel.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
that
that's
was
where I
in
was like,
Battlefront.
oh. So could that be what we're looking at here? Could that be because I mean I think it's been now. I don't know if we want to talk about the leaked things with.
Well,
Well,
there's all sorts.
that one shot in the trailer, it kind of looks like
is
he's
a machine.
very
There is
tall.
definitely a
There's
machine.
There's something
behind
holding
him.
him
Something
up.
holding
You
him
can't
I was
tell him
thinking
if
it was a
that's part of
floating
him.
chair or something. But
But it's kind of hard to say.
It could
Yeah.
be coming down under the throne. It could be, supporting him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty obvious that Palp is pretty good at being able to take someone who's been totally mutilated and make them into something.
That has happened. Yes.
That has happened once
there's
before.
precedent for this.
There's precedent for this. So maybe he did that to himself. There's also a lot of theories around the fact that Palp knew that he was going to get thrown down the shaft from the beginning, and this has been a plan all along. I don't know.
Who
So-
knows? You have to wonder how much of this is, okay, we've got to dig ourselves a little bit out of a hole
Right.
from Last Jedi, which, again, as much as I like it, there are some problematic things in that
Absolutely.
movie. Absolutely problematic things.
So JJ walks in and goes, "Okay, we're going to fix it."
But then JJ comes out and says, actually, it really didn't have to fix much.
Yeah.
So
It
it
wasn't
makes
that
me
bad.
wonder how much of the whole Luke story arc was originally what it was supposed to be. Because there has to be a reason. Because JJ was the one that had Luke on the island.
Yeah.
This wasn't, everybody's
right.
going after Ryan Johnson for Luke, but Luke was in exile in JJ's version.
I would have been fine without him doing the milk scene, though.
So Luke's on Octo,
No.
and I think that was part of the issue a lot of people had with Last Jedi was the humor there's always humor in Star Wars, but it seemed like it was a little forced. I do admit the whole thing about, even though it was funny, Hux's mother
Yeah.
was really funny to me, but at the same time, it was a little hokey, but whatever.
Well, and Poe with the whole leave a message.
Yeah, yeah.
It's-
It was a little bit anachronistic. It's like Poe's acting like
Is this the Benny Hill show or?
Yeah, what's happening? You know, we just need the music going. So anyway, so we've got this pretty spectacular. That is one thing you got to give J.J. Abrams. I mean, the shots are stunning in the trailer.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
Stunning.
amazing. Granted, people do have a problem with these space horses riding across the Star Destroyer.
Yes.
Final charge.
I mean, I assume that's not happening in space.
My assumption is it's still atmosphere,
atmosphere,
because you do
yeah.
see the Star Destroyer coming out, and so I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt right
where
there.
are they gonna go?
Well, I think they're just trying to get
Maybe
in the
get
ship.
in the ship.
Oh.
Yeah, who knows? That's a great question.
Come on, we all know
That's a great
we all
question,
know that's
PJ.
Lando's daughter riding with him.
That's fine.
That's right.
It's got to be Lando's daughter. But I do like that Lando has gone back for his classic look
Yes,
with the yellow shirt and
yellow
the
shirt.
capes. We're back to capes
Yeehaw.
now. And so I'm really excited to see Billy D back in the cockpit of the Falcon.
So shall we talk a little bit about what we talked about earlier? Is that there was the leak about that the one of the songs
Oh,
and
yes.
the soundtrack is called Falcon's Last Ride.
Ooh.
And so could that possibly be the end of the Falcon as we know it? Could that mean Chewie and Lando go with it?
I
don't
that's
know.
the thing, because if Galaxy's Edge is canon,
Right.
then where does it fit in the canon?
Well, apparently it happens to go a little more Galaxy's
Yeah.
Edge again. The Millennium Falcon is there just after Last Jedi.
Okay.
Is the idea.
So it is very, very possible that the Falcon is done.
It's very possible.
And I may have just missed it, but do we know how much time has passed since Last Jedi to
Several years.
Okay.
Several years.
Because when you see like the one shot of the Resistance, there's a lot of people there,
Yes.
and there were not that many left.
No, in fact, they called and nobody came. So,
As I understand, it is quite a significant amount of time has passed, and they are rebuilding. Poe has matured into a leader. They've picked up more people. Going through the, I'm expecting a lot more. People have speculated, but I'm fully expecting a Harrison Ford cameo in this in a
I
dream
would think
sequence.
so.
I would think there's probably
so.
going to. We may have that because this is your last opportunity to have all three of them on screen one last time.
Yeah.
Luke, Leia, Han, all on screen at one time. Chewie, all on a movie together. So I have a feeling there may be a cameo we haven't seen yet.
Okay.
We also don't know who Matt Smith is.
That's true.
And Matt Smith is in the movie. We know that,
Yeah.
but we have not seen him. My guess is he's the vessel for Palpatine. That's what everybody thinks,
That makes sense.
that he's the vessel that they're
no,
trying
you're
to-
right. We haven't seen him at
We
all.
have not seen him. We've seen Carrie Russell. We know who she is. We've seen Dominic Monaghan in the trailer. If you look really closely,
yeah.
he's standing
He's in
behind
that
Rose.
Behind Rose.
Yeah, he's in the Resistance.
We don't really know who he is.
We don't know who he is, but apparently he's got a bigger role than just a walk-on. I'm assuming he's going to be some kind of right-hand guy, maybe third-hand guy right by Finn.
And we have seen Carrie Russell.
Yes, she's the
Yeah.
Zori,
So Zori.
Bliss.
Yep.
She's the bounty hunter
Okay.
scoundrel. She's got her helmet bugs me. It looks like the Rocketeer.
It does. It
It
does.
looks like the Rocketeer.
And then Richard Grant. who's
Richard
supposed to
Grant, who
be-
I'm really wanting to see. We
Yeah.
haven't seen him on screen yet.
Not yet.
No, and we
So
still
don't know what he's doing.
other than a few promo pics, we have not seen the Knights of Ren
Mm-hmm.
on screen yet.
Nope.
And I'm curious about that one because there's a new comic coming out that shows Luke and Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, fighting the Knights of Ren. So this is going to be our introduction to them and
I saw-
potentially how.
Like a sci-fi posted an article about that.
Yeah.
Although they called him Ben Skywalker, but that's
Do they call him Ben Skywalker?
did.
Oh,
which was his name
Wow.
in the EU. but
yes,
that's
it
fine.
was, but it's not.
Are we
It's-
back into the EU again?
You
we are
know,
overlapping.
Nice.
Oh my goodness! Well, we'll link to a lot of this so you can go find these leaks and stuff. I mean, there's a website that has a spoiler leak collection, and some of the stuff's just outright
Well,
insane.
there are ones that we texted about earlier today.
Yeah, the pictures that were released that do appear to be photoshops to
Yeah, I
some
think they're
degree.
I think they're
At least some
photoshopped.
degree, yeah.
Yeah, and one of them, in fact, is Kylo Ren holding a blue lightsaber. So
Right. Take that with a
the
grain
one
of
that I
salt.
find interesting is the one with Palpatine. It shows Palpatine sitting on his throne, which is the throne, which is a Ralph McQuarrie design from Empire.
1981.
Yeah, from Empire.
Nice.
And he's shooting force lightning into the air.
Into the air, like it aimlessly nothing.
Nothing,
apparently.
which could be him demonstrating his power. But his robes are red.
Right.
which is interesting. The other one of him standing does look like a Photoshop to me because it looks like something from Jedi.
Yeah.
It looks like a pose from Jedi. So it's possible that's what it is. However, the background shots of that scene do look legitimate. Like, it looks like they took real legitimate shots and then inserted him into them.
I will say, and I said this earlier to you gentlemen, that if Palpatine ends up getting thrown down a shaft, I'm going to lose it. Because he needs to die some other way.
He really does. He needs to have a Star Destroyer drop. He needs the Chewbacca death. He needs to have a moon dropped on him.
Moon dropped on him, or his head chopped off, or
go out in a battle or something
Yeah.
where he's defeated, not just like cheap shotted down.
Like the Terminator and teeth, and it just blowing up like nitrogen.
You know what?
I thought you meant going down into the
No,
thing
well,
with his
that
thumbs
too.
up.
That would
Oh,
work
with his
too.
thumbs up. No, my guess is actually my guess is it's going to be a dual shot with Rey and Kylo.
Yeah.
They're
I would
going to run
imagine.
him through.
They're going to run him through.
They're going to run him through. We'll have the blending of the red, the red and the blue lightsaber, dark and light coming together to neutral.
And then why is everything someone's undoing? Can he not use any other vernacular than undoing?
He's
He
a
said
classic.
that.
He's a classically trained
I
actor.
guess so.
Now there is one spoiler theory I heard that the movie ends because it's been said, and I don't know if it's confirmed yet that.
Well, they leaked the whole script at one point, didn't
did
they?
they? I don't know if they
That
leaked the whole script.
I'm not sure if it's
it was
real
pieces
script,
of it, but that we will see Owen Lars. No, he'd be dead. No, you go back to the Owen Lars homestead. And they come upon Rey, and she identifies herself as Skywalker at the end.
Oh, okay.
So, I'm hoping there's not a time travel element in this movie, but, who knows?
Well, it worked in Star Trek 4.
It did work in Star Trek 4.
That's right.
Well, no, Star Trek 4? Yeah, it was time
Voyage
travel.
Home.
Yeah. And well, it's actually been done twice in Star Trek.
That's true. It has.
Well, it's been done a lot.
It's
of
been
times.
done
a lot of times.
Well,
in Star
true,
Trek.
it's been done a lot.
But
in
that's a
Star
whole
Trek.
nother show.
We don't talk about that.
But that's the one with the humpback whales.
Yes, which is
And
possibly the second best Star Trek movie.
It is.
I love it.
phenomenal.
It's a
I
great
love
movie.
the fourth one. I love it. It's
Of course,
awesome.
Wrath of Khan is the first.
Wrath of Khan is number 1, followed by number 4 and number 6.
But we
Yep.
don't want to
It
talk
was the-
about
it
what
was the
J.J.
even ones.
Abrams did to that franchise. So anyway,
Look, JJ told us exactly what he was doing, putting a little Star Wars and Star Trek. That's what it needed. So
back to Star Wars.
okay.
Back to Star Wars. Where were we?
Well,
What
we
talking
were going to just touch base real quick. There's another element because all the promotional stuff's going on right now for Star Wars, and all the Lego sets are coming out and stuff. But one area of Star Wars that has been a little bit weak as of late has been the digital realm and video game realm.
Sure.
And PJ was telling us
yeah.
just before we got here that there's a new game coming out, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and we've seen a little bit of the stuff coming out. But apparently there was a playthrough, an extensive hands-on.
There was a big hands-on. If you check out IGN, Game Informer, whoever your video game outlet of choice, everyone got some lengthy, like 2 to 3 hours of time.
See,
playing
normally
through
it's
this.
only like an hour,
Yeah.
maybe.
So I mean, it was they are pretty proud of this, and so just to give a little bit of background, it's developed by Respawn Entertainment, which if you they are former Call of Duty guys who broke off. They went to EA and made Titanfall and Titanfall 2.
Yep.
Have either of you played through the Titanfall 2 story?
I've played, not the Titanfall 2 story, but I played Titanfall 1.
The gameplay was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was fun.
The Titanfall 2 story is one of the better first-person shooter stories
Oh, really?
I've ever
Okay.
played through.
I got a full confession. I'm not much of a story guy in video games. I get impatient. I'm sorry. I try. I'll get better
you just
at
go
it.
to
okay.
you just go. What do they
Well,
call that?
This
all
may
play
change your.
or-
This may be the vehicle that changes your mind.
Okay.
The director of the game is Stig Asmussen. He developed was the main creative director of the first 3 God of War games.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So he's got a third-person action background
Yeah.
that's pretty.
And this is third person.
Yes, it's a third-person action adventure game. The latest things that have come out is it's being billed as sort of a Metroidvania, but
Really?
3-person. So you are, and I got to get the name right.
Metroid. I've heard of.
You are Cal Kestis, I believe is his name.
Yes.
Who?
The Ginger Jedi.
Yeah.
The
I don't think
Ginger
you could
Jedi.
say that, but we're gonna go with it.
Is there a Mary Ann Jedi that I don't know about?
Sorry.
Professor?
That was bad. I can cut that out.
You
if
don't
we
need to.
No,
It's
I think
fine.
it's comedy
I think
gold.
you need
It
to
is
leave
comedy gold, yes.
We need to leave it. But you are basically a working guy who is force sensitive, but this is between episode 3 and 4.
Oh, okay.
It's not too long after the Order 66 has come through.
Gotcha.
So you are hiding the fact that you are force sensitive until an event happens where you have to use the force to save
Oh, wow.
one of your friends.
Okay, gotcha.
And an Imperial probe droid sees you use the force, and immediately you're a target. You are.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So even just that is a pretty cool story. I know we're gonna have some interaction with Saw Gerrera.
Oh, yes, I did hear that. Yes.
But I don't know if any of the other Rebels characters are going to be involved or any of the Rogue One characters. I don't know exactly where it is.
So if you're with
timeline-wise.
Saw, then this is pre-Rogue One.
Yes.
Okay.
It is, yeah. So between
Yeah.
3 and 4.
Between 3 and 4, but
there still
pre-war
may
Rogue
be-
One.
There's still maybe some Cassian Andor or
okay.
Ooh, that would be cool.
That'd be cool.
yeah, it would be
sounds
really
really
neat
cool.
if
Yeah.
you get involved with him or Hera or
Mm-hmm.
any of the Rebels crew. But yeah, so what I'm hearing, like, you build up your force powers. You can go to any of the planets that you want to go to, but like as you're traveling in space, you can talk to the rest of the crew.
Oh, cool.
And you don't actually go anywhere until you go sit in the co-pilot's
So
chair.
it's okay.
and
So
say,
it's like
"Land
Mass
here."
Effect.
Yeah, and it's
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of similar in that regard.
So in that regard.
So I could fly anywhere.
You can fly to any of the planets that are available.
That are
like
available.
not totally anywhere.
Okay.
It's again what they call it's not open, but it's wide-ish linear. So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
you can
yeah.
hit things in different order, but
So if I want to go,
But there's a
see-
way to do it.
If I want to go see the Porg, then I could go see the.
You
Porg.
can go to
Maybe.
Octo,
and
maybe.
Maybe.
bake me some Porg.
and I
supposed to be
the
good.
only planet I know off the top of my head is Dathomir is a destination, which is kind of cool. I'm pretty excited about that one. Another thing is the combat is it builds on itself. You can see some touches of Disney. You can dismember
Droids, but you can't
droids,
dismember
but
people.
not humans
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
humanoids.
That sounds very Disney.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're stabbing a stormtrooper, you're stabbing him in the chest,
Yeah.
and no blood, obviously, because lightsabers cauterize. Yay! But
Yay.
everything.
Things that cauterize make us very happy.
Well, it makes Disney happy that there's no
Exactly.
blood. But everything I've heard has been very positive.
Yeah, so have I. It sounds.
I'm
looks
hearing
good.
it talked about as potential game of the year unless things go really south. This is the first big story-based Star Wars game we've had, other than the little 3 to 4 hour one that came alongside Battlefront 2, which was okay.
Well, and Force Unleashed
Was
kind
yeah.
The first Force Unleashed game is underrated in my opinion. The second
It
one
is fun.
pretty awful.
Yeah, the
But
second one's awful.
I
But
read
the
the
it's
first
book.
one
really
I read
fun
the
to
book.
play, but the story's really
I read
good.
the book. I didn't play the game.
Yeah.
Again, and this is the first time that it feels like they hit everything.
Oh, good.
Since like
Okay.
Jedi
Yeah.
Academy.
Great.
Oh man, Jedi.
The
Or
other
X-Wing.
cool, yeah,
I played X-Wing, man.
That was a
X-Wing was
great
my
game.
game.
one of the coolest things I think about this game, now that I've heard that
Yeah.
they're doing really well with it, is that it's not Star Wars : Jedi Fallen Order. It's Star Wars Jedi : Fallen Order,
Oh.
which means this is potentially something that they could set up as a series
more.
Yes.
that
Do
they
us
could
more.
build. It
So we
might-
get more Jedi
It may not be
stories.
Cal's
Yeah,
story.
but
I
it
don't
could
know
be
what's going
somebody
to
else.
happen to him at the end, but like we could find some other.
Yeah.
Because the
Jedi
reality
in
is there's a lot more probably Jedi out in the galaxy. Than
Well, we know that at least
Yeah,
one.
at least one.
What's his name from Rebels?
Keenan.
Keenan. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also to bring the Rebels thing, one of the main antagonist in the game is the second sister.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, Garrett's gonna love that. My son will love that.
So you'll fight Inquisitors, you'll fight Force sensitive, not quite Sith, but Sith acolyte type
yeah.
folks. I'm really excited for this.
This is gonna be
game.
a good
And,
game.
Like the odd thing about it is, if you'd have asked me about it 2 weeks ago, I would have told you I bet it's getting delayed because I haven't heard anything about it in 3
And then
months.
they dropped all this.
And then they dropped this, and it's like, holy crap, it's ready, and it's going to be awesome.
So when's it come out?
When's the
again?
release?
It comes out November 15th.
Oh, okay. So it is
So
coming out in
less than a month
Couple
away.
weeks.
because they just pushed back Last of
And-
Us 2. There were a bunch of delays in the
Yeah,
video game world.
today
this week.
there was a ton.
Today there were a ton, and so
And let me give you a quick little pro tip. If you're a PS4 or Xbox player and you've never had EA access,
Yeah.
you can get EA access for $5 a month, and a week before the game comes out, you'll get to play up to 10 hours of it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So
That's cool.
Now they may limit that depending on the length of this game.
Yeah.
And they've done that in some others, but they always have what they call their early play, or
Cool.
I don't remember exactly the terminology they use. But so for $5 a month, EA access, and you get to play it early.
Ooh,
That's
nice.
awesome. That's
Okay.
awesome.
All right.
The other really good thing about it, despite the fact that it's coming from EA,
Yeah.
is that there's no microtransactions.
Oh, good. Thank goodness.
At all. There's no season pass.
Yeah.
They are
So
not.
it's a complete game.
It is a complete single player story. There's no
Oh,
multiplayer.
good.
So it's nothing's going to be watered down. The team was focused solely on
That's
this
awesome.
story and on
Love
this
it.
game.
That's great. I love it. That's what I
They
needed.
used the Force.
No
They
more
did.
multiplayer. Just give me a single player,
Yeah.
good single player game. That's what I want.
And
I
a
kinda
story.
like- I kinda
Nathan.
like
yeah, and with a good. Okay, I'll give you. I'll watch the story on this one. I promise.
It's in the EU.
I figured you'd like
It's in
I'll
the
do
EU,
it.
though.
It's
No, this is
this is canon,
and it
now.
is
I
canon.
know.
It is canon.
It's
That's
linear-
the other thing they've said. It's
linear?
not. It's not the Star Wars Legends.
Yeah, Star
I'm
Wars
doing
Legends.
air quotes
Yes.
for those who are not watching the video.
Yes. Well, if the video works, because I'm getting. Oh, my phone just died, so maybe the video's going. I have no idea. That sucks
I
a
don't
lot
s-
of battery.
There's a little red light still going.
Okay, that means it's still recording.
All right.
So hey,
So
how's
hey,
it doing, guys?
what's up?
So,
Are
that's
we
about,
done unpacking the trailer?
Huh?
Are we done unpacking the trailer?
I don't know. We
Is
could
there
go
more?
all night unpacking the
We
trailers.
probably could.
We're
dig into
45 minutes into this bad boy, and we
All right.
and we
We're
haven't even talked about the fact that it appears that the Ghost is in
That's
the
right.
fleet scene.
that. Yeah.
And I zoomed in on it, and that are the colors of the Ghost on there.
looks
Yeah,
so
it's
the
not
Ghost.
just the style, but
it's not a class. It looks like it's
the
really the Ghost. So the question becomes: are we going to see Hera?
Would she? How old did Twi'leks live?
I
Like,
don't
How
know.
old was she at the end?
Or are
of
we going to
Rebels?
see Ezra?
Ezra.
Yeah.
Because we don't know where he ended up. We
Nope.
kind of have a clue, but we really don't know. So.
Or it could just be other schmucks.
Or yeah,
You know,
this could be
flying
like
the
it's been
Ghost.
sitting at what was the name of the guys who stole the Falcon?
Oh.
Yeah,
Or it could be a bunch of
Kanji Club?
Gungans.
yeah.
I bet
Kanji
you
Club
bet
got
you
it.
Gungans are flying it.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Is Jar Jar Binks in this too,
Oh,
by the way?
yes.
Because that would be awesome.
Only if
Miso,
George
Jar
has
Jar
his way.
Binks.
Jamaican
in Rise of Skywalker.
frog people.
Oh, good lord.
So, well, yeah, we could go all night. Maybe we'll have to revisit as we get a little bit closer as the hype train gets going, because the hype train is
Oh,
going.
the hype train
Well,
is
you
up the
heard that
station.
according to Adam
Chug,
Tickets,
chug, baby.
there's
it
better
doubled
than-
its sales over Endgame.
And more than
Pre-sales.
Endgame. Yep.
That's amazing.
It blew Endgame out of the water. Now that's on Adam Tickets, so I don't know where
I
it
don't know
is
where
for everywhere
everybody
else.
else is.
And by the way, Tickets is also selling a 9-episode Star Wars marathon if you want to go,
It's
Nice.
27 hours.
something like that.
Something
When
like
I
that.
was younger, I might have done that
Yeah.
There's a better way to consume that, though,
at home on my couch.
especially after November 12th.
Yes,
Yes.
while I'm playing that game.
Disney Plus.
Well, no, before.
Well,
before
yeah.
Disney.
Disney
is-
Plus, which is yes. PJ makes a good segue. We do have Disney Plus coming, which have released their Star Wars list.
Yeah, I went ahead and printed off. This is just the Star Wars content that'll be day one.
Yes.
Okay.
Did you
so
not
we
hear
got-
that it was 45 minutes already? But go ahead.
No, go ahead, hit it.
We got it.
We got to do
So
it.
there's A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, The Empire of Dreams, Story of the Star Wars trilogy
Seen that.
documentary, Revenge of the Sith, the Star Wars Clone Wars movie,
Yes.
Star
No.
Wars Clone Wars series,
That's what I wanted, not the
the
movie.
Star Wars Rebels series,
Rebels.
Yeah, that's cool.
and then Lego Star Wars: The New Yoda Chronicles, Lego Star Wars Droid Tales, Star Wars: The Force Awakens, Lego Star Wars: The Freemaker Adventures, Rogue One: A Star Wars Story, Star Wars Resistance, which is another cartoon.
Yes, I have not seen that one, but
Lego Star Wars All Stars, whatever the heck that is, and then some little show called The Mandalorian.
yes, they're
Wait.
not even putting the Last Jedi on there.
So both Solo and The Last Jedi will be coming within the year.
Yeah.
They've got to finish up their Netflix
Well, wait.
contract.
I did not hear the holiday special on that list.
I did not either, but I
It's
have
not.
I have a
It's-
bootleg of the holiday
it's-
special somewhere.
It's
Yeah.
coming with Condor.
But here's the thing: the release schedule for the Mandalorian's bizarre.
Yeah.
It's like 2 episodes a week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
it's
knew they were
really
doing it.
weird.
I knew they weren't doing it all
It's
at
not.
once.
It's episodic and it's not a full drop, but it's like 2 a week.
And I already signed Mandalorian 2.
I know, they've
Second
already
season,
started
right?
filming
They've already
it.
started filming it, right?
yes,
that's
It's going to be epic
that is
already.
that is a sign.
apparently
of,
it has to be.
That's a sign of positivity.
Yeah,
if
that's
it's
actually a
going to
good
be
sign.
if it's a good sign. So, well, we're going to think of something as soon as we end this, but
Of course we are.
we'll come back. Maybe we'll blog about it. Speaking of which, we have a website. It is the geekosphere.net, and
We
PJ
do.
has already been posting. You actually did a little write-up on Untitled Goose
Game.
Goose Game, which I haven't played yet, but I'm dying to play. I've heard it's awesome.
Check out the review. Short, too long, didn't read version. I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah,
Does he
you
die-
were telling me about it.
Does he die at the end?
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
Or
No,
does he?
wrong goose. Wrong goose.
Yeah,
So you guys
he-
can check us
He
out.
doesn't hit the canopy.
That's where the episodes are, and you guys can listen there. We're also on iTunes. We're on Stitcher. We're in multiple podcast media outlets. Thank you for that. For
Yes.
some reason, my words went out the window. We're also on Instagram at the Geekosphere Podcast, and we're also on Twitter at the Geekosphere, and we'll try to get more stuff up there, content, things like that. Since most of us, I think we almost have all access to it. We can start
That's right.
putting things up.
Instagram, baby.
So, Instagram, gonna get the gram going.
Gram
So.
going. The Insta.
Until next time, this is Nathan,
Hey, I'm Luke. What's up?
This is PJ.
and we will catch you later.
Have some milk.
Nice to be in orbit.
Roger, 0G, and I feel fine.
Lift off and the clock has started.
Nice to be in orbit.